So if you're a content creator in the Christian space, one of the things that you need to know how to do is to monetize. And we're not just talking about AdSense from YouTube, but also all the other areas what that looks like. Trust me, there's a lot to talk about here.
So recently I came across I listened to this podcast called Buzzcast, and it's by the guys that put together Buzzsprout, which is a podcast hosting platform that I highly recommend everybody use if you have an audio podcast.
Yeah, I love Buzzsprout.
Yeah, the guys are awesome. I love listening to Buzzcast because they end up having relevant conversations, but they also, they're very authentic, and you really get to know the three of them very well. And this topic, they do every other week, they do a shorter topic. They just cover one topic in between their longer episodes where they cover multiple things. And this one was all about the reality of monetization in the streaming era. And basically what one of the guys was talking about, Kevin, was talking about one of his friends is an artist named Jeremiah Bowser. He's a musician. And he wrote something on social media saying basically he spends all this time being a musician, and he does all this work, and he made $8 last month in streaming revenue. And he was just talking about how unfair it is in this day and age that that's all he makes. He gets like 3,000 downloads a month or whatever. And it's very frustrating, and how it is very top heavy, and is what he was saying. Of course, we've been dealing with this as creators for a long time. We talk about the long tail and that concept of, yes, there is a lot of people very top heavy. They're the ones making all the money, but everyone in the back end is making next to nothing. And how do we make a living as a creator, let alone a Christian creator?
Yeah. Because I would say that's even like, obviously it's a deeper level of like, there's a smaller total addressable market. Like, it's not the whole world that you can go to, but it's only these specific people. And yeah, there's definitely a lot there.
It used to be that you could make money as selling CDs and going on the road and making money from merch and that sort of thing. That was the way that you built your income. You made an income, made a living. And so there's less and less ways that you can make a living, so to speak. That's what this artist was saying. And he pulled up some stats that were really interesting. He looked up Kevin, the host, one of the co-hosts, looked up these three artists, three different spectrums. He looked up first, who's the top selling artist? Taylor Swift. Do you know how much money she makes a month?
A lot.
A month?
Between $16 and $25 million from streaming alone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is what she makes.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Billions of streams a month equals $20 million on average, let's say. Then there's a band that might be in like the top 500 or so. How much do you think that band or artist would make
within the top 500 artists?
If they were the number 500 artists in the world?
Average per month.
An average per month of
20,000.
Streaming income. 20,000?
Yeah. In the top 500, it's such a wide range though, because I feel like the 500th person is probably.
I'm talking about the 500th person.
Okay,
if you were to say who's the 500th person,
okay,
what
so
would
the
they
500th person, I would say they're probably making like $15K a month.
Okay, they make actually $400,000.
Okay, good.
A month.
A lot better than
I'm not depressed now. Good.
Yeah. So that's a 100 million streams.
Yeah.
Earning about, now that's assuming that and that's just from streaming revenue. That's from the DSPs, Apple Music, Spotify, etc. That's not including publishing royalties or songwriting royalties,
or
but artist royalties that the label or the artist would make. But when you get into somebody like a Jeremy Bowser, which is the majority of people, once you kind of get out of the top 1,000, very few people can make a living from music alone. And I wonder if it's the same thing from a monetization standpoint for a YouTube creator or a podcaster. Now, they were talking about it from a podcaster perspective, and they were saying that basically once you get out of the top 500 to 1,000, the top 500 to 1,000, they're able to at least make a living from podcasting. Definitely the people who are inside of the top 500, they're making a really good living. They're making really decent money because of all the monetization aspects that are available to them.
From my perspective, at least from a YouTube standpoint, it works so much differently than music, because a stream is a stream is a stream pretty much on streaming. You don't really take into account like ads that are being served to a particular demographic, right? Whereas in YouTube, it is not that way. Like in YouTube, it is my audience has a much higher RPM, CPM, or revenue per thousand, or what the advertisers pay per thousand, right? Cost per thousand. But like, let's take me and Mr. Beast, right? Mr. Beast clearly is making more money than me, right?
Just barely.
But if me and Mr. Beast had the same amount of views, let's say we cut both of our views down to 500,000 a month, right? So bring him down to around my level, right? If he was around my level but still making the same RPM, CPM as I did per view, right, or per thousand views, I would make way more money than him. Like,
interesting.
Like way more money. Let's say on average, this isn't my number, but let's say on average I make $10, just to make it easy math, right? $10 per thousand views, right? Mr. Beast is probably making closer to like 25 cents to 50 cents per view. Like, because the people that he serves are really young kids, they don't have money, they don't, like, the advertisers are not going to pay as much in order to get in front of his people, right? And maybe that number is probably low, maybe it's a couple dollars, but I would not assume that his numbers are over like $3 to $5. Like, I would be very surprised if that were the case. So it really highly depends on who your audience is on YouTube. Does that make sense? So like, I'm in the top million creators on YouTube, but I probably make revenue wise in the top 1% of YouTube.
That's interesting.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, it's definitely not the same it's much harder for an audio podcast to monetize than it is a YouTuber.
Right.
For that reason alone, But I think what you get with a podcast is you get a very high loyalty. So you don't need as many people, and they will support you in other ways. They might donate more on a monthly basis. Whether maybe the sponsorship dollars or the ad revenue dollars are not really there for them like it is for YouTube, which is a beautiful thing that YouTube creators have. And I think that's why a lot of podcasters are creating YouTube channels, is because the monetization aspects of it are so much better. But poor musicians, I mean, what can we learn from these musicians as creators? Is I feel like the music industry, it always hit the music industry first, the people who were the takers, even before authors and movie makers. And yes, we've all moved to basically streaming, but books have sort of hung on there basically with the way their monetization, because there's so much of a physical, still people are reading physical books these days. It's very different than music. How many people are buying CDs these days? No one. 5% of people are buying CDs. I don't even have a CD player in my car anymore. So things have changed, and the music industry has really taken a big hit. So I guess just this concept of monetization is an interesting one that I'd love to dive into more and maybe explore what are some great ways for creators to monetize their creativity, even the musicians.
Well, speaking of musicians, I've had a couple fire pits where people come over and I bring my digital marketing friends and then my music industry friends, and we have these conversations. And one of the key themes that I keep on coming away with is musicians, and I hate the term, but influencer. But like a musician needs to treat their career more like an influencer. They've built up a huge audience, and you can monetize that, and you can also do it that honors God. Like, you've amassed an audience who love your music, and if you do a product placement or whatever, but something that you believe in, that's one way you can monetize. I think it's very interesting also in the Christian space, working Christian radio, Christian TV, like they bring in hundreds of millions of dollars throughout the year to keep their ministries going. And we are just now more decentralizing it, a bunch of individual creators, and Christians are generous and they want to give to something they believe in. So this is not a call to go create some content because Christians are going to give to you. This is a call to, no, if you are actually doing kingdom work, the right people are going to come out of the woodworks and go, I want to amplify your voice and your message that you are doing on this new medium called YouTube. Like, I'm a big Christian radio guy. I worked in Christian radio for the last 20 years. And there's no denying it. Like every day, like less and less people listening to radio, and they are now watching YouTube. I believe is the new radio, and so there's just as many Christians. There's probably more Christians watching YouTube than listening to radio in their car. So there's a way to monetize there. You can also make products. I mean, Ruslan has his God Bless Journal. So there's some other larger Christian YouTubers who are creating something that they believe is going to add value. Now, as soon as you go, I'm just going to make a product to try and sell to my audience, people are going to sniff that out. And God's not going to honor that. Come up with something that you can give to someone that will enhance their faith, enhance their life, be valued, give more value. So,
yeah. So let's talk about just general monetization things in the content creation world. I think number one that people think about is the platform monetization, right? So whether that's TikTok or Instagram or YouTube is the king by far. I mean, I don't think there's anywhere else that's even close. Even like Twitch or Kick or those type of things, like the monetization platform. The platform monetization is horrible and on basically all of those.
Yeah.
Except for Kick. I think Kick, you get like 95% of your revenue from like subs and from ads and stuff like that. But it's kind of sketchy and weird over there. So we don't really go to Kick, but,
nobody talks about X, but
that's very true. It's new. Yeah.
I've heard that it can be a great way to monetize, but it's definitely not anywhere near what YouTube is for sure. But
because YouTube is just so settled in like who they are and like the way that this works, and advertisers are very comfortable. So like Twitch over the last couple of years, I don't know if you guys know much about Twitch at all, or the live streaming world. So Twitch is the premier place you go to live stream, essentially. YouTube is technically bigger, but people don't really see YouTube as a live streaming platform. But Twitch over the last couple of years, really the last 5 years, has had a lot of different adpocalypses, is what they call them, for different reasons, whether that's like nudity issues or like just bad, kind of like just really bad stuff that people don't want to be around, right? On the platform. And then they have to like kind of nip it in the bud, and then they come back and then it builds up again. But they've had a lot of issues like that. So because of that, advertisers are afraid to go there, right? And so now Twitch is really having a crisis of like, what do we do? Because we either have to fix this or we have to like figure out another way to monetize. YouTube, though, people love YouTube. It's very, very safe. There's a lot of safeguards in place in terms of like what you can upload. I could try to upload something bad and it immediately gets taken down, right? Like it's very good automation there. So that's platform monetization, which is pretty big. I think for kind of successful or like career creators, I would say that's probably 40% of their income on general, like 40 to 50%. Another one that I have is like a membership. So like Patreon or Fourth Wall or just a membership on your website. I think this is really, really good. This is a lot like what you're talking about in terms of like podcasts and stuff.
I think podcasts, that is one of their number one ways. I mean, like I've said in the past, I've created communities from podcasts, and there's a tremendous amount of loyalty. People want to get deep dive into, and the membership platforms like Patreon, which I think is really the king of that. Are brilliant ways to do that. But also podcasts have Apple and Spotify both have membership type formats to their platforms, which really helps. Again, creators earn a living, but memberships are the way to go, and kind of they're what a lot of people call the holy grail of because if you have a subscription and you can count on this many people giving to you and paying you monthly, it can be pretty powerful financially for them.
Yeah, for me it's huge, and not necessarily because it's not the biggest part of my revenue. I'd say it's probably about 40% of my revenue in terms of my business, but the stability that it gives me is insane. I, just because my YouTube revenue can go 4x one month to 0.5x the next month, and it's like, it's scary. Like you don't know what it's going to do. You don't know, because every single video has like, you don't get paid $20 per thousand view or $10 per thousand view every single video. It's like, every video is different.
Yeah.
You might have one that's $3 and one that's $8 and one that's $12. And then you have an average of somewhere in there, but it's hard to guess, right? So even if you have a video that does 1 million views, what if that video's RPM is $2, which is possible, It's like, that's kind of scary. So having a membership for me is always about stability.
Yep.
Because it allows me to continue to do what I need to do and not have to worry about everything else, which is why I love my membership family over there, why we're building one here, right? It's a huge thing for us because not only is this membership, I think, is a little bit different because I think our first and foremost goal for the membership is not to necessarily like make a ton of money or to even really sustain this. It's more so to give community, you know, which I think is really, really cool. So it's a little bit different here, but there's a lot of stuff that we want to do through that membership, including like one-on-one coaching and then a bunch of different stuff in there. But yeah, so we've got platform monetization, membership. What else do you guys think about when you think about monetization? We talked about merch.
Products and merch.
Products and merch. Sponsorship revenue.
Speaking of, this episode sponsored by
we're still waiting if you'd like to sponsor. Yes, but no, sponsorship revenue I think is big, especially host read sponsorship revenue is vital because it's so ingrained in the content and the trust factor is so high. If you're somebody who recommends a product, you're gonna get a lot more buy-in from other people. Affiliate income is another one, especially on YouTube. Putting links to your content in the description of whatever it is you're talking about is another form. I mean, one time I counted up the number of streams of income that I get. It was 14 different streams of income. Wow. And there are people out there that put out their income every month. And I really am always intrigued to see how it breaks down, what the percentages are. And it's actually beautiful. It gives me a lot of hope to see that because I think every community is different. Every audience is different. And, but yeah, affiliate income, sponsorship revenue, live events is another one that I think is big, probably will be for us. Courses, curriculum, creating your own product, digital products. Those are all great ways to monetize what you're doing and also more than anything provide value to our listeners.
For me it's 4. I would say AdSense is probably 60% or maybe 50%, then memberships is 30 to 40%, and then merch is actually climbing quite a bit now. I've been putting a lot more attention into merch specifically, so I've worked on 2 separate lines this year. One I made very quickly on my own and kind of built it up, and then this last one I spent like the last 6 months making this line, and then really kind of slowly putting it into my members first, letting them get it, then kind of teasing the rest of everybody, then telling them the story about how it came, and then really pushing it on to my full audience just starting this week. And so we've seen some really, really cool stuff happen through that. But that's been interesting. So merch is probably, I don't know, it has to be less than 10%. It's not that much, but it's interesting. And
that's all done like on demand, or are you having to buy stuff up front?
I don't have time to ship and all that stuff. It would cost way too much. So it's all through Fourth Wall, which is the same site that we use. And so, but it gives people the opportunity to be representatives of me. And so whether it's just like the cheapest shirt I have is literally just my logo, right? It just has like the logo on the front so they can be like, hey, I watch your channel, you know, so that if they come to a chosen con or an event where I'm going to be, then they can, you know, they can let me know that they know who I am and that they're part of my movement, right? Or my community. And so I love that kind of stuff because it's not just that they're buying a shirt. Like it's not that they really needed that shirt, right? They have clothes, they're fine, right? The purpose of that is really what they're doing is they're buying into you. Right? And so like that's why we have simple GodMade, you know, hoodies and shirts and stuff like that, is because we want people to identify with the movement that we're making. And we want to be able to go out and say, you know, start those conversations of what is GodMade, you know, what is that? Like that's a cool hat. Like what does that mean? You know? And I think that is a really neat opportunity for sure. But those are my kind of the last one's kind of like donations, I guess. Like we'll get some, like we have like a PO box type thing, and like people will just send us, because my audience is older, so like they like sending mail a lot of times. So they'll send like a check, or one time we got a whole care package of like, hey, this is my hometown, and here's my favorite pizza place. Here's a shirt from my favorite pizza place, and like I love that kind of stuff, you know, because it deepens those relationships, and it's cool. So anyway,
well, I'm going to talk real quick to the person who's going, hey, this is the GodMade Christian content creators, and they're talking about money.
Yeah.
And I think I shared this in the very first episode, but it's something I heard from Bob, the gift guy from Chosen. He said, they don't exist to profit, they profit to exist. So if you're coming to this from, pure intentions and you want to reach people with your Christian content, you also need to pay the bills. And so that's why it's important to be thinking about, even, I'm a brand new YouTuber, started 4 months ago, and I've been thinking through these things. We're brand new here too. And we got to be thinking ahead, because otherwise our wives are gonna be like, wait, what are you guys doing? Just hanging out, talking? Like, it also, and
my wife's about to come down right now.
So if this episode goes, like, we're gonna go.
No, 100%. And subscribe for the future, because one of the things that I want to talk about is it okay for Christian content creators to make six figures? I think that's a really interesting conversation that we'll have in the future. But yeah, I think that's a huge thing that people struggle with, for sure, because they think that you are, like we talked about in the last episode, they think that you're in the category of someone who doesn't really believe, but you're taking advantage of the faith in order to make money, know? Yeah. And it's like Simon the Sorcerer type thing, where he's, anyway, but that's a very weird biblical reference. But
when we talk about that, remind me to share a story about Rich Mullins, about
Rich Mullins
money and how much money is appropriate to make on the back of ministry.
Yeah. But talking about monetization, what is, let's say we're talking to brand new creators here. What would you suggest they do? Let's say they're under 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. They're just kind of getting going. What are the best ways that you tell them to monetize right now before they have AdSense or platform monetization, that kind of stuff?
This is really fresh for you. So
yeah,
I would be interested to hear.
I mean, one, don't quit your job and have another source of income.
Yes, so that good advice.
Because I think once you put the pressure of having to make money, your content will change also. And I've wrestled with this recently of like, ooh, maybe I should have this person on my channel. Not because necessarily I think it's good for my channel, but it's like, it's going to be good. Maybe it'll monetize more. And so I think finding that line. The only practical way is if you've got close friends, family who want to support, start there. Like, hey, I'm starting this project. But again, I think early on, be thinking where you want to be. Early on, you need to be focusing on your content. Like, start to put in the reps, and then go from there. So,
yeah.
I think all the things we talked about, I generally, when I start something new and I want to start a movement or want to start something, I think about my audience and my listeners. And obviously it starts with really excellent, great content, just like Matt said. Once you have that going, or you've created that, then it's a matter of, in my opinion, you need to, even before you start making money, it's really vital that you get an email list. I still in 2025, some sort of list, some sort of email list. And I usually get that from I still think it works, is a free, something of value for someone else in exchange for them giving me their email address. And you could do that through Patreon as well, for example.
Yeah. Would you still do that over, even, like, I've heard a lot about text, like having their phone number instead? Is that more powerful or no?
People always there's a lot of people that say text is the future, and it might very well be. And I just don't think the text world is nearly as developed as the email space. I still, one of my businesses is in the Christian space, and whenever I send an email to my 10,000 active email subscribers, these are active email subscribers, I know that I'm going to get about a 30 to 40% response rate. And usually I will see this percentage of people purchase if I'm making an offer. I don't always sell stuff on my email list. I provide value to my email subscribers. But when I am selling something, I can usually count on a certain amount of revenue to come in from that offering. So I think it's really, really vital that you find a way to stay in touch and communicate with your audience. Otherwise, I hear a lot of people that rely on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram. And yes, you might have 100 100,000 followers, but what if you get deplatformed, or what if you lose that opportunity to connect? So even before revenue, I think you build the foundation on having some way of automatically collecting email addresses, engaging with your audience, providing value. And then when you begin to have opportunities to monetize, I think community is the number one way. I think Patreon or however else it might be, I think community is huge. Even those $5 a month people really make a huge difference over time. So, and from there you can go to a lot of different places, but I think you got to build a foundation on some of those things I just mentioned.
Be focused on where your destination is, I think, is my biggest thing. Like, even when we had 80 subscribers, we had a Patreon, because we were excited about jumping into it and knowing that, okay, if we have 5 friends that help us do this, it makes it sustainable, So whether it's like my mom jumped on there and then like 2 of our closest friends, and then it grew from there, right? And now I've got about 630 active patron members, right? Paying patron members. And so those people are excited to talk every week. They're excited to be part of community. They're excited to get the extra content. But most of all, they're excited to be helping to support me, know, because even if it's just like the majority of those are $5 a month people, right? But those people help to put food on my table, and they're helping me to save up for a house. And these people are really helping me to continue to do my channel, because if I didn't have all those other things, I'd have to go back to doing videography, or I'd have to go back to, a ministry position or something else. God would lead me somewhere else. But because these people have stepped up, it allows me to do what I do, which is incredible for sure. What I would say about monetization, if you're just starting out, is one, start a Patreon for sure. That's how you can start getting emails if you want to do that. Start getting emails, get those all together. I would also say, start thinking about how you can use your skills in other ways. So if you're learning about cameras and stuff, can you use videography outside and doing a different side hustle, right?
Oh yeah, very good point.
Or even closer to YouTube, which can help you as well, is whatever niche you're in, go to all of the brands within that niche and say, hey, I'll make some UGC for you, which is user generated content.
That's
so
a good idea.
A great one for me early on was Artsabox. Artsabox, if you don't know, is it's an Israel subscription box, right? They'll send a box to your house every quarter that has local ingredients or local goods from Israel, right? All different types of stuff from Israel. Really cool company. But for the longest time, how we work together was one, affiliate, like you said. So if I help to sell a box, they'll pay me a little bit on the back end. And then also making content for them. So it doesn't go on my channel, doesn't go on my Instagram, but it can go on their Instagrams or their channels or whatever else. I think this is an amazing thing that's overlooked by newer creators, because they just think, oh, nobody would ever want my stuff. But a lot of these brands are looking for UGC creators to do what they do. In a way, my channel is a massive UGC channel, right? For these different brands, whether it's, whatever show I'm talking about or whatever, they see my channel as almost a user generated content sort of channel. They just don't pay me for it. Right. But that's okay, because I then earn relationships in return instead of money, right? Which is just as valuable, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Which enables you to create better content.
Yeah.
I got a free fish taco out of my channel.
There you go.
You got to start somewhere, Matt.
Hey, it was delicious.
Awesome. Well, if you have any questions about monetization, leave them in the comments down below, but let's move on to Matt's topic.
Yeah. So to short or not to short? Shorts, YouTube shorts. And, I'm 4 months in on my channel, been doing shorts, and talk to you. You don't do shorts. And then I listen to the different YouTube channels about YouTube, and some say, yeah, do it. YouTube's all figured it out. And others are like, no, you're confusing. There's one audience who wants to watch shorts, another one who wants to watch long form, and you do both. You're confusing it. So I finally this week decided I'm going to go look at my YouTube channel analytics and go, I'm not spending a ton of time. I use this service called Opus Clip. It chops it up, but I'm not spending a lot of time. So they're not like amazing short content. It's more of like, oh, I've had AI help me clip it and put subtitles. And I was like, but if I am hurting, I want to know, but more importantly, I want to know, is it helping? So I went to all my long form, because I want long form. Like, I feel like that's my space. I want people to be able to hear longer stories. 1 minute short's not going to get my message across. And so I was looking at where the traffic source, where people are coming to my long forms, and shorts was like very bottom. And I was like, so I'm going to stop doing shorts, I think, for now. But I'm still going to use the short content on the other platforms, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook Reels, as a way of just hopefully it hits certain algorithm. Like I got one video that was on TikTok and it got 20,000 views. Now I don't know if that brought people to my YouTube channel or not, but so anyway, that's my thoughts. That's my thinking around something that I just am like, I really don't enjoy the process of making the shorts. So I'm like, why am I doing it? Is it actually helping? And so,
yeah, personally, I just hate shorts. So like on a personal level of like, what do I enjoy?
Yeah.
Like, of course, I'm just like everybody else. So sure, I get stuck in the doom scroll of watching shorts and all that kind of stuff. Everybody does, because as our human monkey brains, like we just kind of like, we get stuck in
dopamine.
Yeah, 100%. But I hate making shorts. I hate looking at shorts. I hate everything about it. I hate the time suck that it is for me. So for me personally, I have a really hard time with it. Now, strategically and practically, when it comes to content creation, there are two issues that I have with shorts. And I think that there are some people that will utilize shorts really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I guarantee this is going to be a short somehow for our channel. Like there are
We're talking out of both sides of our mouth.
Yeah,
I hate shorts.
I hate
but
shorts.
I'm doing them.
Here's
why is a short going out? It's our number one short.
Yeah. But strategically, here's the problem. Number one is the rise of AI shorts. I think it's created a lot of AI slop that's just kind of like, it doesn't really have true value. Like AI may think, oh, this sounds pretty good, right? But it doesn't have true value. And then secondarily, I think for beginning channels, it's very, very dangerous, because if you are a long form channel that you want to put out 1.5 hour long videos, and you're going to be doing interviews, and you're having these long form, intense, deep discussions, you want people to be ideally watching that on their TV, and you want people to be sticking around for a really long time. And you doing shorts and long form at the beginning of your channel, at the very least, is going to be detrimental, because it's going to create two different separate audiences at the same time. Whereas if you are a 3-year-old channel who's been doing long form for a long time, and you're successful and you have all of that sorted out, then when you add short form, then it can add on the same audience, because YouTube knows who to serve it to, and YouTube knows who's going to be interested in these things. And so it will help your audience be reminded of you and bring them back to your channel, that kind of stuff, instead of creating a totally separate audience, which can be really, really dangerous, because then YouTube gets confused about who to send what video to, and it doesn't work out very well, in my opinion. And I could be totally wrong about that, just like everybody else is online. So
yeah, when we talk a lot, I think every single episode we talked about, as Christians, we want to be excellent at what we're doing, excellent at our craft. And I also started feeling like I'm not able to do shorts with excellence. I'm just doing slop. Like I'm just taking, again, it's not slop. Like it's good highlights from my long form.
I'm the same.
But I'm early on, and I want to spend more time. I would much rather have a long form video keep people's attention longer than, a short video that maybe they click over and come watch, my long form. So, and I don't have time for it.
Depends on content. I do like what you said. I'm going to take, because I'm learning from you guys on this topic, but I do think there's some value in continuing to create those shorts for just the purpose of putting them on as reels on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
So the value is there, and even Facebook as well. Just those platforms, if you just want to keep YouTube its own separate thing, that's great. Okay, so here's where I'm coming from. I have a quiet time instrumental piano channel that I've been trying to grow. And I had a small little viral moment for a couple of days where I created an 8-hour sleep video, long form, that did pretty well. I ended up getting like 250 subscribers very quickly within a week. And then after that, it just kind of tapered off. And none of the 8-hour mixes I was making after that they were very similar, but they just tanked. And so I got really discouraged, and I shut it down, and I stopped doing it for about 4 months, all summer long. Then just being around you guys, I got inspired again, and I said, I'm going to do this again. And I started doing long form. And then I realized I really don't love doing these 2, 4, 8-hour pieces of content. And I really enjoy shorts. Like I enjoyed one of the things that I wanted to do. And plus, I have these 10 albums of instrumental piano music that I composed and created, these masters that I created, that I would like to get out there and keep out there. And so for me, I have landed for now on creating 1 minute shorts. I'm calling it the Quiet Time Minute or the Daily Quiet Time. I haven't quite landed on that yet. And it's honestly like I can do it so quick, and it's actually really fun for me to find a scripture that goes with a piece of video content that goes with a song. And it's just a small way that I can create content in a very manageable way. I don't have a lot of time to put to it. I have maybe a couple hours a week to put to it. And I'm just going to start releasing these shorts 3 times a week, every other day. And I want to see if something catches from that. I feel like it provides a service to people who might just want a moment's peace in the midst of their dopamine hit, and just a reminder of a Bible verse and some scripture. And my big thing that I'm playing with is, do I want my voice on it? Do I not want my voice on it? Reading it, that kind of thing. And for me as a creator, I'm playing. I don't see it as a monetization play at this point, but
right,
that's where I'm landing.
I think it's interesting because there are certain things that work really, really well with shorts, right? And so I think this is one of them that can work super, super well, where you have a daily thing that you recur over and over and over again, becomes a habit for somebody to jump into, and doesn't take that much of a commitment to jump into either, right? I would ask you, like, what is your why then? Like, what is the purpose of it, and how can you serve that to the best of your ability? That's where my mind would go next. But I think, like I was saying earlier, how I was double speaking is like a platform like this, I think is where you need shorts, because something like this, it allows you to, first of all, get discovered in some instances where a short can really, for example, what is his name? The black guy with the glasses that has a podcast, and he like started his own app.
I know who you're talking about, the pastor.
Tim Ross.
Yes.
Tim Ross. Yeah. For him, like he got really popular before his podcast even started. He blew up on a short form content stuff from another podcast, and then he decided to launch his own, and because of that, it blew up right after that, right? I think that's a piece of it, but I think also having little snippets of like really important conversation to show what you guys are like, I think is interesting within a podcast context, because it's essentially the same content, right? You're not making different style content outside of this. So I think it depends. I don't think it works for every single podcast. I don't think it works for every single thing that you're trying to do. I think you have to determine on your own, like, hey, does my content lean toward shorts, and is that a thing that can work or not? I think for sure.
Well, like you saying, what's your goal behind it, and having a clear goal, whether it's strategic for your growth of your channel or a goal spiritually, like you want to encourage people every single day through their dopamine hits to just put a little bit of pause and rest. Like that's a great motivation. And so I don't think there's a one size fits all. I mean, I will say also, if you do an interview podcast, taking the short content and putting it on other channels where people can share it. That's how one of my videos took off. It started with someone who had a pre-existing audience shared it.
Yeah.
There's not really as easy a method on YouTube to share socially.
That's true.
And so, you can create content if you want it to go on other channels.
Yeah. That's very good.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right with that. I'm talking specifically on YouTube. I think putting short form on other places is really, really smart. I'm just horrible at it. So I'm really, really bad at every other social media except for YouTube. So,
which there's something to be said. I mean, just focus on your strengths and be really good
Focus
at it.
On your strengths at the end of the day. If it's not giving you life, I don't think you do it. You can't make yourself do it. It's just going to pull you down.
Yeah,
as a creator.
And my audience hates shorts too. So it's like
there you go.
I don't know. The people that I'm trying to reach are not the people that are watching reels and shorts.
Right. Yeah. If you're trying to reach a 20-year-old, you better have a really strong shorts game.
Yes. Yeah.
Short, tight hooks, like getting people's attention.
Yeah. And that's it has to be valuable.
That's why I don't know if because my audience is older women, as well, that listen to my kind of music. So
I don't know.
Who knows? Keep experimenting.
out of the knowledge circle that is content creation and YouTube, I know a very small sliver. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just sharing my personal anecdotal evidence of what I've gone through. Looking at my analytics behind the scenes, it was completely different audiences watching these things.
That's great.
And so for me, I went on the extreme end and ended up deleting all of my shorts and putting them on a separate channel entirely. But I know a lot of other people that are very successful with shorts, and they love doing it and all that kind of stuff too. I will say, if you're planning on doing this for your career, shorts is not the play.
Yeah.
You know, like there is not money in shorts, whether you're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, there's not a lot of money in it at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
It's less than an artist on Spotify. It's like
it is
fraction of a fraction of a penny. Yeah.
Speaking of monetization.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else on that realm?
No, that's it.
I'm just glad you and I are both wearing shorts.
Yeah.
Has nothing to do with what
no
we
one
talked
can see
about.
it.
No one can really see it, but we are wearing shorts underneath this table.
Well, moving on. Speaking of GodMade.
Yeah. GodMade shorts.
Yeah.
Oh, good idea. Merch item.
There you go. This thing that we're doing here, we're building a community for Christian creators. We're trying to give them a spot where they can thrive, where they can grow, where they can be the people that God made them to be, right? So that we can see them thrive. One of the things that is really important to that is the events that we're thinking about doing. Mm-hmm. I want to think specifically about the future of those events. What do we think about what we're trying to do there? What is it like? What other events is it going to be similar to? This is partially just kind of impromptu thinking through it with us to have this conversation, but I think it'll be interesting for them to watch this as well to see where this is going to go in the future. And I want you guys to be bought in. Like for you guys, we have been thinking about this for almost 6 months, right? Well, right around 6 months. And we're finally launching this thing. We're finally getting into it. We're finally, and I love these guys because everyone that I've ever worked with in the past has had kind of like, 1/10 of the energy and the like ready to go-ness that I've had. But these guys are like right there with me, like ready to kill it and trying to get this done. And they're really passionate about creating a community for you, right? And so these events that we're going to do, I think, are going to be really interesting. But I wanted to talk to you guys about what your thoughts are about what those are going to look like. What are your hopes and dreams? What are your visions of what is to come?
Well, I think it's interesting because there's several different layers or lanes that we have to decide on that I'm looking at that I haven't made a decision about. So there's the lane of we have this local meetup that we do. And how can we duplicate that in every major U.S. city, for example, or cities around the world? How can we help spur on GodMade groups in your local community? That's kind of exciting to me.
The branding is so fire, is it not?
It's so fire.
It's so good.
It is.
It's so good.
But so there's GodMade groups. That's one lane. Then there's the lane of why don't we get together online in kind of a cohort / mastermind / what's another way, small group type of way with other creators and organize regular. And I'd love feedback on this. So I'm sharing sort of these lanes and I would really value what people think in our community. That's why I'm excited to get this Patreon going and some other things, comments, etc. And I will be very responsive in the comments. So I'm excited for these things to come out there. But definitely there's the online lane. And then there's the straight up lane of let's have a large once a year meetup. And for that, I see people like the All In guys, which is the All In podcast. Right now, there is a summit going on called the All In Summit. I'm seeing all kinds of exciting things happening there, and it's kind of what I want it to be. There's a main stage, a lot of energy on the main stage, but then there's also side stages. There's meetup areas for networking, etc. I think something like an all-in summit for a live event, or what we experience at VidCon, Vid Summit, excuse me, not VidCon, Vid Summit, where again, there is a main stage. There's lots of opportunities to network and connect. And I think that's going to be very, very important. But then there's also discussions happening in smaller size rooms and spaces where people can maybe take a specific track, educational track. Maybe they're a certain kind of creator, Christian creator, and maybe they want to go here and follow this track, all kinds of stuff there that I can
because there's a huge difference between the academic side of Christian creators versus the entertainment side of Christian creators versus the creators who are Christian but create something totally different. There's a lot of different areas where we want to build these kind of pockets of community, and then have those communities come together so that we can compare notes and see what's going on. Right? We have a very small framework of those groups here, right? We're pretty similar in the things that we want to make, in terms of like we're all Christians who want to make Christian content, but we're looking in the future to have many other people kind of speak into this and talk about different things that are happening here, right? Like a white whale would be to have Ryan Trahan come speak at a conference. It would be amazing, right? Or Zach King is another one. Like these people who are
Dude Perfect.
Yeah, Dude Perfect would be amazing as well. And so it would be really interesting to just hear your guys' like goals of maybe something that you want to shoot for. What do you think about this stuff in general?
So goal, and I guess this is like my number one highest thing, even with our local community here. What I really desire is to be with a group of people where the culture is you give more than you take. We've all been in rooms where there's networkers. It's just, there's a networking that it can be kingdom done and really life-giving, and there's networking of what can I get out of you, and you're just trying to take, you're just trying to network for only your purpose. And so it's hard to set that kind of culture, but like where everyone comes going, all right, Lord, how do you want to use me today? And by pouring out, you're blessed and you're going to get it back, because I just don't like personally those kind of feelings where you just are like, I feel used.
100%.
And so that's my only take. And then if it's 100 or it's 1,000 or 10,000, but as long as everybody is of that mindset, I think only good can come. So, yeah.
Well, then there's with live events, there's always the discussion you have to have as far as like who is coming. There's certain people that you almost need to leverage their brand in order to get people to be interested in coming and hearing from that person. So we will have to discuss, which brands currently, quote unquote, in this space do we want to invite and maybe even pay to come and speak at our events. That's going to be one of our initial discussions, because if we launch out, I remember when we did Walker Stalkers and we launched our conventions, we did a 30-day Kickstarter campaign, and it was every week we announced a new guest that was coming. And with every guest, we started people gaining the interest of people. And by the end of those 30 days, we had a really nice lineup of guests, including a very large guest who ended up giving us about 160 pledges for the initial, to get us over the hump of getting that Kickstarter funded. And that gave us the initial funding to do the event itself. So, I'd be interested in hearing, you mentioned a few names of people that you'd love to have at the event. What's another dream a little bit? What's another person that comes to mind that you'd like to have? I think
another thing I would love is that we would have a blend of things that are there to build you up spiritually and as a Christian creator. But then I'm a huge fan of just that's why my topic was shorts, like just very tactical. And so like, wouldn't it be great to have someone from YouTube come and just give us, not even from a Christian perspective, just, hey, here's what's working, here's what's not working.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it needs to be every single person on stage is a Christian content creator.
Right.
Like we can live in that duality of both things.
Yeah. I love that. I love having people, because I think they'll be honored to be invited.
Totally.
We're not exclusive to just having Christians on stage necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah. The heart that I have for this, like my best goal that I can think of in my mind is we do this first event and we inspire someone within our journey to become a creator who then speaks at a future event. I think that is where my heart is in all of this, in building a community of people that will then actually be raised up in their excellence, in their faith, in their communities, to where they can then have an impact like we want them to, And I think that is where my heart is. That's like the
story, the testimony, like 5 years ago, I came to my first GodMade, and here I am releasing, this huge thing that's impacting the culture. Yeah. Wow, what an amazing...
And not, wow, let's lift up Brendan, Matt, and Eric, but let's lift up God for what he's doing here and how he has raised so many Christian creators. Like that's the goal for me. That's my heart in it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So. Going to have we talked about in our first episode, I think, of if we could calculate how many people are being reached.
Yeah.
If we have within the GodMade community, we've got X number of creators who reach this many people.
Yeah.
And again, it's not to toot our horns. It's just these are souls that are being reached with the message of Jesus through the medium of social media, YouTube, podcasting, etc. So
there's another way to do this too, in that we don't have to start big and go big at first. We can start by finding out from our audience what are the main challenges, pain points, problems you have, needs you have as a Christian creator, and create an event that really meets that need, exceeds that need, so that there is so much value. It could be more educational, is what I'm saying, inspirational and educational, because I don't need to go big. I'm beyond that. At this point, it's not important to me.
And I don't want someone showing up just to meet Dude Perfect or Ryan Trahan.
That's not gonna
going back to my original point, that's someone coming and taking. They're wanting to take a selfie. Look at me, I got to meet this. That's not the culture we want. We want people coming, and whether you're on stage or not. I've gone to many conferences throughout my years of digital marketing, and almost always I end up just hanging out in the lobby and talking to people.
Yeah,
and I get so much out of that, asking some questions and people and just back and forth sharing what's working for you and this and that, and not to take away what someone on stage is saying, but let's not discount. I mean, that's in our creator meetup here in Nashville. We're very intentional where we go around the whole circle, no matter how big the group gets.
Yeah.
We want to make sure everyone has a chance to share something, because there's many different personalities and some people are fine just sitting back, but I want to get that gold that's in them. And everyone's got something
really
they can
nurtured.
Share, so.
You've nurtured that really well.
Yeah.
You've nurtured that really well, Matt.
Yeah. It's created a really cool environment for sure. I think that, we want to be more of the Christian version of Vid Summit than the VidCon. Christian version of VidCon. VidCon is very much a fan conference, but we want to be an enabling conference that is focused on giving tools, equipping, and allowing people to succeed in their career of being a Christian creator, whatever that looks like there. Totally. So there's some really cool things that I want to do there for sure. On another note, one thing that I would really love to do is to be able to earn enough money and to build this up in order to sponsor certain creators. So if there's someone that comes to us, almost like, I imagine almost like a Shark Tank, where
the GodMade fund,
where people can come pitch to us an idea that they have, or maybe they're already doing something and they've already started something and they're able to earn this scholarship, right, in order to get them to that next level of creativity. I think that would be so interesting, because right now, I was talking to these guys earlier, the stuff that we're shooting on today, these 4 cameras and the equipment that I have here, this is probably close to $10,000 that I've gotten together over the last 8 years, right? All this equipment, but this is a lot of stuff. And this just to do a simple podcast,
right.
The gear that you need in order to do something simple, of course it's not that much today. You can start with your iPhone, but in order to have that upper level of here is the tools that you need in order to get into this space, and here's the teaching that goes with it too, that would be so beneficial, I think.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, this is for creators by creators. Hopefully we will empathize with where you are, because we are doing the same things. We are not trying to be the experts here. We are coming alongside where we might be one step ahead of some of the people that listen, and that's enough. We just want to take a leadership position where we can have the opportunity to impact this creator space to see somebody flourish. So absolutely, let's make sure that we do what you just said.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested in being a part of that, this is the space for you. Subscribe to the channel, be a part of what we're doing, follow the membership, go to our website, check out the stuff on there. There's a bunch of stuff that we're getting ready to do. And you guys, if you're here, are here at the very beginning of it, which means that we want you to be a part of it. Whether that is helping us plan our events, being a part of the team that is doing that event. We are going to need people that are skilled in these different areas, whether that's event planning or doing different stuff behind the scenes, catering, things like that. All of that stuff we're going to need in future events. So if you're interested in hosting a GodMade group where you are, let us know. If you're interested in being part of this big GodMade event, whatever we call it, in the fall of 2026, then, you guys are going to be a part of that. We'd love to have you. So all of that is on the table, and this is why we're talking about it here, is because we want to build out in the open. We don't want to just go into a closet and say, hey, these are the things we're going to do.
Right.
And you're going to
look at us and how amazing it was.
Yeah.
I chuckled because I love that you have this fall of 2026 on the deadline.
That's the goal.
I love that. I love that.
What is it? 1,000 people? Right.
That's what Eric said. Yeah.
Eric
I said 100.
You said 100.
Let it be known.
I say whatever God wants to bring.
There you go. The
most faithful Christian answer you can give right there. So no, but all of it's good. It's all great. It's great to set these things out there and ask God for them, and ultimately whatever He wants is the best thing. So, but most of all, we're approaching this from a giving spirit and the heart to give, and we hope that this will also attract people who also want to do the same thing, because this event won't be good if it's all taking. If everyone's taking, it's going to make you feel very empty. So the more you contribute into the community, get involved, if you resonate with this, the better this community will be.
Yeah. So share it with your Christian creator friends. I think that's going to be really key. Is we're not going to just count on the YouTube algorithm to get this into the right feeds. Like, if you know someone who's a Christian creator or wants to become a Christian creator, like, send them GodMade and let them know, hey, there's a community that's building, come be a part of it. I'm excited that you were talking about the comment section. Like, I'm really excited too.
Yeah.
Because I think that can be a resource for people even there, yes, we got one on our website, but YouTube has got the comment section, and let's make it happen.